Hello friends. In this video, we will more discuss about the data warehouse thing. We will try to cover all the important theoretical concept which we should know, and we should explain. So whenever interviewer is asking about any optimization technique or what architecture you are following or what things you are following in the Bigquery side or data warehouse thing. So these are the must keywords or must definition you need to tell how you are following this thing or how you are performing. Sometime interviewer is asking direct question like what's the difference between this and this, what's the difference in this, and what's the meaning of this. Okay, so he or she is asking direct question. Sometime you need to ask number of things according to the requirement, or you need to provide number of things as a explanation of the things, explanation of your project. Okay, so firstly, if we are talking about the data warehouse, so if we are talking about the data warehouse, so the main thing we are using the in Google side, Google BigQuery. So if they will ask how you are writing all the things, so you need to mention how you are writing all the things via SDK. In SDK, we are using BigQuery. Correct. These things you need to mention or these things you need to explain. Okay. So now the another things come into the picture. Okay, what another things are there? So firstly, when you are talking about the data warehouse, so you need to provide few keywords. So for example, if I'm talking, so first thing you need to mention, like we are using data warehouse as for the historical data. Okay, so why we are using historical data? Just to find the insight. Okay, so here in the Google BigQuery, we are using as a complete data warehouse, and this data warehouse we are using as a for storing the historical data and find the insight. Okay, so here they are asking like what is the source of the data. So source, you are saying that by default for batch data, sources GCS bucket. Okay, and for streaming data, you can say that we are using PubSub. Okay, so in this way you can say that for batch data we are using GCS bucket as storage, and for streaming data PubSub is there. Okay, where the data is coming or messages are coming for the streaming side. Okay, so they are asking more about, for example, if we are talking more about the batch data. Okay, in so batch data, what happened? So you are providing that is coming from the GCS bucket. So generally they will ask how data will be loaded in the GCS bucket side. Okay, so what you need to provide, so here you need to give the answer like you are using landing zone. Okay, so landing zone is like your Unix path, your shared drive path. Okay, these things are there which you are using for the as a landing zone. Okay, so here one source stream is there. Okay, that source stream, what is they are doing, they are dumping all the data in the landing zone. Okay, so source, what's the source stream responsibility? They are fetching data from the different sources, uh, we can say that different databases, like for example SQL Server, Oracle, DB2. Okay, and any third party APIs. Okay, so source team is fetching data from all the different things. Okay, they are dumping data to the landing zone, and overall responsibility start from the landing zone. Okay, so we are collecting all the data from the landing zone. So what we are doing, collecting all the data from landing zone and then storing all the data on GCS source folder. Okay, so these are the few keywords which we need to explain. So, like landing zone, you need to tell, you need to provide all the information. Like we are collecting all the data from the landing zone and then storing in the GCS source folder. So, in this way, we are doing that. Okay. So after that, you need to mention there is another important concept comes into the picture, that is the denormalization. Denormalization. Okay, so now what's the denormalization concept? So denormalization concept comes into the picture. So for example, you are creating complete warehouse. Okay, so for example, in data by side, we have lot of small tables are there. Small tables are there. Okay, in warehouse, what we are doing, we are creating one big table. Instead of the small tables, we are combining few tables. Okay, so what's the reason behind that? Why we are combining? Just to reduce the joins. Because if we are performing lot of joins similar to our database, like in database generally we are performing the normalization approach, but in warehouse it's completely opposite. In warehouse we are performing the denormalization approach. Okay, where we are creating one big table. So that thing, we are doing that. Okay, so in this way you need to mention all the things. Okay, so okay, another thing, they are asking like what another things you are doing. Okay, so you need to tell we are using partitioning concept. Okay, they are asking what is partitioning. You need to provide few another concept, like we are using sharding concept. Another thing, we are using clustering concept. Okay, so you need to mention like we are using partitioning, we are using sharding, we are using clustering. Okay, so you need to mention all this thing we are using. Okay, so these are the few keywords you need to pump in. So whenever you are giving interview about the as a GCP data engineer, so the advantage of this, so that he will better understanding of the uh, things, because these are the few main keywords. Now comes into the picture, what is the partitioning? Okay, partitioning, we are using just like we like you can say that it's optimization technique. Okay, it's the optimization technique. Now what's the advantage of this technique? So it helps to help in increase the performance. Okay, so here what we are using, here we are using optimization technique, and it helps in the increase the performance. Okay, so this is the one of the thing we are using that. Okay, after that, what another thing we are using, uh, you can say that um, how we are using in general, we are using date column in this, like whatever the significant date is there, that date we are using. Okay, so how we are using, so whenever we are creating the table, at that time we are using the partition by keyword. Okay, and providing particular column name, for example start date we are providing. Okay, so in this way we are using the partition by. Ultimately what partition by is doing in the background, okay, so it is dividing data into the segment. Data into the segments. Okay, so that segment is called as partitions. Okay, so via this, like what happens, it's helpful into the manage and query the data. Okay, so so as mentioned earlier, like we are generally using the time column. Okay, so in this way we are doing that. And how we can do that? So for example, we are creating any table. For example, I'm using bq command, bq query hyphen use legacy SQL equal to false. Okay, create table, database name or dataset name, whatever you can say that dataset name. Okay, dot table name. Okay, after that we are mentioning column 1 data type, column 2 data type, column 3 data type. Okay, in this way we are using that. And once we are ending this, we are using partition by particulars, for example, start date. In this way we are doing that. Okay, so it's again easy to explain how we are doing that, correct? So now the again new concept comes into the picture, that is the cluster. So why we are using cluster by? It's again the optimization technique. Okay, the main advantage of this, like it will sort the data on disk. Okay, so how it is working? It will sort the data on the disk. Okay, cluster by we can apply on multiple columns. On multiple columns. Okay, so how it is helpful? Like cluster by helpful in improve the performance of the data. Okay, so in this way we are using all the things. Okay, so till now we have learned which things we are using. So just we are, whenever we are creating any data warehouse, so firstly we are using the concept of denormalization. After that we are using the concept of partitioning. After that we are using concept of clustering. After that we are using the concept of sharding. So partitioning is divide the data into the logical segment. Okay, so here in the partitioning we are using particular dates, whatever the significant date is there, that column we are using. And in the clustering, it is sort the data on the back on the disk side, so that we will whenever we are fetching the data, we can easily fetch the data. Okay, so these are the few things which we need to explain. Clustering we can apply on multiple columns, and generally partitioning we are applying on the single column, and especially we are taking date column. But if there is no date column available, then we can put on a particular any integer column as well. Okay, so there are few another questions come into the picture. Can do we need to apply like what we will take question like this, uh, without partition by, can we without partition by can we apply cluster by? Without partition by, can we apply the cluster by? Answer is yes, we can apply. Okay, similarly without cluster by, can we apply partition by? Answer is again yes, we can apply. In same table, can we apply partition by and cluster by both? Yes. Same table, can we apply cluster by and partition by both? The answer is yes. Okay, so these are the few things which we need to explain in the interview. Okay, so till now we have learned partitioning, clustering, and denormalization thing. Another thing we can say that we are using different file format. So for example, data is coming either in CSV format or JSON format. Okay, what we are doing, we are converting this data to the Parquet format. So why Parquet? Because Parquet is completely based upon the columnar structure. Okay, the Parquet is based upon the completely columnar structure. Means how it is data stored in the Parquet in the column base. Similarly, Google BigQuery also store data in columnar based or column based. Okay, so these are the few similarities between the Parquet and BigQuery. So Parquet format is make it more optimization, more optimized way to store the data. Okay, so till now, what things we have learned? We have learned so few more things about the different file format. Another file format which are available. One is the ORC available, Parquet, JSON. Okay, and one more was there, Avro. Yeah, Avro. So like ORC and Parquet are based upon column based. Okay, and uh, Avro is based upon row based. So which one is the best choice? So Parquet format is the best choice for us. Okay, so Parquet format is the best choice. Okay, so till now, if I'm concluding like how many steps or which steps we have learned or which keyword we have learned. So firstly, we have learned denormalization thing. In the denormalization, what we are doing, we are creating one big table instead of small tables. Okay, the reason behind using the denormalization, just reduce the joins. Okay, after that we have learned we need to use partition by. What's the advantage of partition by? It is dividing data into the small part. So data processing is very fast. Okay, and another thing we have learned, cluster by. In the cluster by, what happened? It is sorting the data on disk side. It is also helpful in optimization. Okay, so partition by we have learned cluster by, and the another thing which we can learn about the different file format. So which is the best file format is there? Parquet is the best file format which we are using to store the data in BigQuery. Okay. So these things are there. Okay. There are now few another things. Can we apply plus partition by individually? Yes, we can apply. Can we apply cluster by individually? Yes. Can we apply both? Yes, we can apply both also. Okay. And the another terms, one is terms is coming native table and the external table. Okay. So native table is that table, the table which we are creating on the Google BigQuery site, and that, or we can say, and the tables are depending upon the BigQuery storage. Tables which are depending upon the BigQuery storage. So for the storage perspective, we have two different kind of storage. One is the GCS storage we already talked about. Okay, another one is the BigQuery storage. So the external table generally store at the GCS storage site. External table. BigQuery storage, we are storing the, but the thing we are storing at BigQuery storage, we are storing the native table. Okay. So now what is the native table? The table which depends upon the BigQuery storage. So there is one name for the BigQuery storage is Cololus. COLOSUS. So this is the thing we are using. So at GCS side, we are using GCS storage side, we are using external table. BigQuery storage side, we are using the native table. Okay. So if we are talking about like which is the best, like native table is best or external table is best? Okay. So both have their own advantage and both have their own disadvantage. So firstly, if we are talking about the native table. So native table, like when we are fetching the data, it is very fast. Okay. When we are retrieving the data, data is coming very fast. But for the storage perspective, storage is costly here. Okay. Similarly, if we are talking about the here, like in native table, what we need to do, we need to pay more money for the storage. Okay. We need to pay more money for the storage. Okay, so this is the thing, native table versus external table. So now if we are talking about the external storage or external table, external table is dependent on the GCS site. ठीक है, such kind of storage or such kind of table is called as external. Here storing is cheaper. Here storing is cheaper, but here performance wise it is slow, or data processing is slow. Okay, so these are the things, these are the few keywords which you need to take care. So I'm again repeating, like till now what we have learned and what kind of things we need to explain in the interview. Okay, so you need to talk about the denormalization approach. Okay, after that you need to use partition by. After that you need to use cluster by. Okay, after that you need to use about the uh, like table prospect that sorry file format perspective, which you are using Bucket. Okay, after that we need to provide, we are using native table and external table as per the requirement, or as per the best business case. Okay, so these are the few keywords which you need to use. Okay, there are few another things which comes into the picture. They are asking more about the like few definition they want to listen. Like, do you know types of dimension table? Do you know types of fact tables? Okay, what is factless table? They will ask lot of question related to this. Okay, so now you need to know about this, like dimension tables, fact tables. So firstly, like what is the fact table or what is the dimension table? So fact table is that table which contain numeric value, like column which contain, for example, sale, quantity, discount. Okay, so that contain the numeric information. Discount. Okay, that contain the numeric information. So that table is called as the fact table. And dimension table is the table which we are using for store the different dimensions. Different dimension means like product, category, region, date dimension. Okay, so there are a lot of things they will ask. Okay, here now you need to provide few another things. So like so will they will ask, do you know types of dimension table? Then you need to say yes, I know. So if I'm talking about the types of dimension table, so first table is called confirmed dimension table. Confirmed dimension table. Okay, second type of table is called as role playing dimension table. Okay. So now what's the difference between conform table and role playing dimension? There is one another type of table that is the called as slowly changing dimension table. Okay. So always make sure, so whenever you are explaining these things, so you should have at least you know the basic definition of it, type of the it, because like in lot of interviews, these kind of question they will ask, like what is the confirmed dimension table, or do you know the type of the dimension table? Okay, so confirmed dimension table is the table like that contains so for example, it contains that attribute that are confirmed confirmed or stable over the time. Okay, what is the confirmed dimension table? It's contain that attribute that are confirmed or stable over the time. So that kind of dimensions table is called as the confirmed. So again, They will ask how many types of dimension table you know. So you need to mention there is one confirmed dimension table, another one is the role playing dimension table, another is the slowly changing dimension table. Okay, so for the confirmed table, it's contain that attributes that are confirmed or stable over the time. Okay, so for example, there are few columns in a table. So for example, we have sample superstore table is there. Okay, so there are few things are confirmed, like these are all the regions are confirmed, like we are taking east, west, north, south. So these are the region we are taking. Okay, similarly few categories are there. Okay, so there are few such kind of column which are generally confirmed. Okay, like there are very less chances of the changes. Okay, so that kind of dimension table is called as confirmed dimension table, where all the attributes are confirmed or stable over the time. Okay, so like here in the confirmed dimension table, once data is loaded into a confirmed dimension table, it is considered as reliable and does not change over the time. Okay. Uh, Once data is loaded into the confirmed dimension table, it is considered as the reliable and does not change over the time. So that kind of table is called as the confirmed dimension table. Okay. So after that, we have the tables come into the picture is role playing dimension table. So, in the role-playing dimension table, so what happened? Instead of creating multiple date dimension table, we are using a single date dimension table and give it to the different roles or perspective within your data model. So each role represented different relationship between the fact table and the date dimension table. So in the role-playing dimension table, so what we are using? So here he's trying to say like as mentioned earlier, like date field is also comes into the dimension table, correct? So for example, you have number of dates are there in the table. For example, product date, product launch date, selling date, okay, product expiry date. For example, lot of date column is there. Okay, so like instead of creating multiple date dimensions, so here instead of creating multiple dimension tables, what we will do, we will create single dimension table, single date dimension table. Okay, single date dimension table. Okay, so instead of creating multiple dimension table, here we are what we are doing here, we are creating the single dimension table. Okay, so and it gives the different role or perspective within your data. So and it will give different roles within your data model. Okay, so this kind of table is called uh, what it is called? It is called the role playing dimension. Okay, so for example, the date dimension table can play a role of order date is there, where we are analyzing data on the based upon the sales, how many order happen. Similarly, the same date dimension tables can be play the role of the ship date, and when we are analyzing the data sale based upon when the orders are shipped. Similarly, it can play the role of the delivery date when analyzing the sales based upon when the order was delivered. Okay, so every means in role playing dimension, we are generally take care of the all the date column. Like instead of creating multiple date dimension table, what we are creating one single date dimension table, and that dimension table play different role for the each attribute. So in that way, that is called the role playing dimension table. Okay, another one is the slowly changing dimension. Slowly changing dimension. In the slowly changing dimension, it's again SCD1, SCD2, and SCD3 is there. So, but in real scenario, we are using SCD2, slowly changing dimension 2 we are using. So now why it's required? What's the reason behind that? So like whenever we are creating any date, so we have effective date and expiry date logic is there. Correct. Effective date and expiry date logic is there. So whenever new data is coming, so for example, if we are talking about any table contain the information of the employee. Okay, so for example, employee status was there. Okay, so for example, employee status was A. Okay, effective date, for example, effective date 001 2021. Okay. And expiration date is either null or it's follow the higher date concept, 2099. Okay. So now person put the paper and he moved to another company. So here status is changed from active to terminated or retire or whatever you can say that. Okay, so status change from A to T. So here what happened? One new row will comes into the picture. For example, this happened from 1/1/2024. Okay, so here the above dot expiry date is changed. So it will show 12/31/2023. And this will show 12/31/2099, means any higher date. Okay, so that we can easily check which rows are currently active and which rows are uh, active at that time. In this way, we are handling SCD2. Okay, SCD1 is the similar thing, but here in SCD1, what happened? We are simply changing this value A with the T. Only we are doing updating. No insert new row is inserting. We cannot track the historical data. So SCD2 is the best choice. Okay. So now I think you have good understanding about the few topics which we have learned. So whenever anybody is talking about the data warehouse, you need to talk about the keywords, especially denormalization. Denormalization. You need to talk about the partition by. You need to talk about the cluster by. Okay, so in this way, you need to talk about the lot of things, different file format. Okay, so I'm stopping this video. I will create another part of this. Thank you. Thank you all.